Hey there, how's it going? If you've been following this series about getting to know the notes on the fretboard, I've got another little idea that I wanted to pass along to you to help reinforce the idea that you should be learning the names of your notes in a more thorough way. And I know I'm harping on this quite a lot in this series, but I really believe that the lack of knowledge of the fretboard is what makes people wanting to learn more about what they are playing or the theory behind what they're playing. I think that's actually what's holding you back, is not being able to get it on the fretboard in a really attainable way. I wanted to pass along another benefit that you would gain from really getting to know the notes on the fretboard, and that is your ability to better analyze the things that you learn. For example, let's say you were learning, let's say Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven. You get to the solo, and you really like the solo, and you'd like to know what's going on underneath the hood with this solo. Why is he playing what he's playing? And how can you take that information and then apply it to what you do? Well, let's take it, for example, the first lick. Right? Now, if you analyze that or see another analysis of it, you're going to find that the first part is based on the A minor pentatonic scale, right? Which contains A, C, D, E, and G. And that rundown is all of those notes until you get to the last note, F. Well, F is not a note in that scale, so why would Jimmy Page rest on that note? If the rest of that lick was pentatonic minor, you know, A, C, D, E, and G, why would he throw an F in there? You would think he would want to end on maybe E. That's a note in the scale. Well, here's the reason. The chord progression underneath that lick, by the time he gets to that last note, it's over an F chord. So now you have to ask yourself, well, would it even make sense to land on E if the chord is F, one note away? Not really. It wouldn't make much sense. It would be a much smoother landing to land on a chord tone of F. And what stronger chord tone of F than F, right? So whether Jimmy Page was aware of that or whether he just used his ear to tell him, okay, I'm going to land there, that's a better note to land on, and not really take it any further, we don't know. I don't know how well versed Jimmy Page is in music theory, and it doesn't really matter. Our job is to take what he did, or any of your favorite players, and as you're learning it, analyze why it works. You know, what about that part makes you want to learn it? What is it about that part that sounds good, or why does it sound so appealing when you're listening to it, right? So by landing on an F in that case, he is complementing the chord of the moment. Now, this would not happen if you don't know the notes on your guitar very well. In other words, while you're playing and you're making real-time decisions, it's going to be a fluke if you hit the right note in that case, because you're probably thinking, hey, I'm in A minor, and I can use the A minor pentatonic scale, everyone's favorite scale. Right? I could just noodle around and play in that. You could. But if you're actually cognizant of the chords and respecting the chords as they go by, or acknowledging the chords by playing notes relative to the chord, unless you're doing that, it's going to be a chance that you'll hit that note and maybe not. So by being able to know the notes on the fretboard in a very, thorough way, you're going to be able to do that in real time. You're going to be able to turn that around and go, okay, well, if I'm playing over that chord progression, there's a lick that goes from A minor to G to F, and I'm acknowledging the notes of every one of those chords as it passes through. And I think even if you don't hear chords behind me, you can hear the chord sequence being played out in the lick itself. Now, if there was chords behind me, it would sound even better. It would sound even stronger. Right? You're going to be able to hear the mesh of notes and chords that relate to each other, and it's going to work even better. So, all this to say, as you are learning these exercises that I've presented to you in the last few videos, and you're working on this, and I'm getting a lot of great feedback of people saying, I just embarked on this idea. I'm taking those exercises and trying them. I've never heard of it done that way, and I'm getting results already. And I'm like, great, keep doing it. I just wanted to throw out another reason, in case you were needing one more reason. It's going to allow you to be able to analyze what you're learning, regardless of what it is. Whether it's a Jimmy Page solo or a Bach sonata, partita, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The ability to analyze what you're doing and find the goodies in that piece or that lick, right? Being able to find the DNA as to what is making it work. Once you figure that out, you can take that and apply it to your own thing. And that's where the beauty of learning theory really comes to life. And it's not a bunch of memorization of useless stuff. It's very helpful and very useful. It is the language of music. If you're going to speak it, you better know what it is, right? So keep your eyes peeled for the next video. I've got a couple more things I want to shoot your way. And let me know. Again, if you have any questions or comments, hit the comment section. I'll be happy to check out every one of them. Have a good one.